Hey VC, this is Luke with Hot Wax and Cool Vinyl. Welcome back. Unless this is the first time you're visiting my channel, then welcome. A vinyl finds or vinyl grabs video, whichever terminology you prefer. I found a couple of decent eBay sellers over the past few weeks, and they are very reasonably priced, both in product and in shipping, and they're on point with their shipping time, and their stuff is good. I mean, if they say it's a very good plus, it's very good plus. So honestly, I've been very, very pleased with these few sellers that I've been buying from on eBay recently. So let's start. The first one is John Coltrane's Selflessness, featuring My Favorite Things. This is on Impulse. I think this is the 69 pressing. I really haven't had a chance to dig into it too far into Discogs, but the little bit of that I did do, it looks like it was a 69 press. Impulse does a great job with their covers. They're really heavy, firm stock. Great gloss, wonderful depth of color, and it's important. I mean, the cover is one of the reasons I got back into record collecting in the first place. Was my real deep affinity and like of the artwork on the album covers. It was just not the same on CDs. It was just minimized, and it just wasn't quite the same. Impulse does a great job. Again, and this is your gatefold, liner notes and such in here. This is, again, as I said, on Impulse, the 69, the Impulse label. Again, one of my favorite labels. As you can see here, it's the classic Impulse label. I'll try not to drop it. There we go. The one thing I will say about the free jazz aspect in Coltrane is I'm still battling with liking free jazz. I want to desperately appreciate it, and honestly, I'm still not there yet. I try, and it's like, still, oh man, I don't get it. But I'll keep plugging away until either I give up completely and say, okay, it's just not for me, or the tumbler's all set and boom, I get it one day. Next up is Sinatra on Reprise record. Again, it's a gatefold. Sinatra. This is billed as a collection of Frank's favorites, and it's a gatefold. And again, you have liner notes in here. And this concludes, if you're wondering what his favorites were, it includes Young at Heart, Nancy, which, of course, Witchcraft, All the Way, How Little We Know, Pocketful of Miracles, Second Time Around, Call Me Irresponsible, I've Got You Under My Skin, Put Your Dreams Away, and In the Wee Small Hours of the Morning. Now, this is on Reprise. I don't know if there was a reason why on his, for example, his number one hit, I think his first and only, certainly his first number one hit, may have been, there may have been one other, but Strangers in the Night was not one of them, and rumor has it he actually hated that song. Who knows? Okay, next up, The Ventures, A Decade with the Ventures. For those of you who don't know me, I adore surf guitar. As a kid growing up, I adored the Beach Boys and the whole early 60s to mid 60s California cool surfer dude craze that was just, I idolized it. I wanted to be that. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to surf. I'm terrible at it, mind you, but I tried several times to surf, and never a pretty sight. not a bad volleyball player. Played on the beach for many years, but definitely a horrible surfer. But this is one I picked up again from one of the eBay sellers who I've discovered recently. And this is also the same thing. And this is a Brubeck's Jazz Impressions of Eurasia, the Dave Brubeck Quartet. It's a Columbia 6-eye. If you notice the label, it's got a lot of writing on it here. And when I bought this, the photo did not have that. So I emailed the seller and I said, you know, is it possible you sent me the wrong one? I bought, I think, 5 or 6 records from her. And she emailed me back within 12 hours and said, you know, I am really sorry. I had 2 of them. I probably sent you the other one by accident. So I'm just going to refund you the money, keep the record. And that was very nice of her. And like I said, this is one of the eBay resellers who I've discovered and I like. Again, Columbia 6-eye. And the record plays very, very well. It plays on point by and large. So I'm sure, because it's not a very uncommon album, I'm sure as the summer season rolls around, I'll run across a copy, a cleaner cover of the Dave Brubeck Quartet. And one of the reasons I love this, and I'm going to keep showing this, is one of the other things that I like and I'm drawn to is airplanes, commercial airplanes in particular, not military, but commercial airplanes. And Pan Am and TWA in particular, just because of the romance that they depicted in the early age of flight, when you would still, when I was a kid and we would go fly somewhere, you still dressed up to get on the airplane. You know, it was still an event, and it wasn't. Today, it's more like you're on a big cylindrical bus with wings, but then it was more of an event. So I still have this romantic idea of air travel, and I love Pan Am and TWA and all the airlines that are no longer here, but played such an integral part in my liking airlines when I was a kid. Next up, Columbia 2-eye. It's Monk Time, the Thelonious Monk. This is really an interesting record. It's still in a gatefold. I'm sorry, still in shrink. So the cover is really well done, and it is a Columbia 2-eye, and the record's in good condition as well. Not gonna lie, still having a real, I keep getting them. This one I picked up on trade along with another monk that I'll show you shortly from a friend in the Carolinas. Next up, John Coltrane, His Greatest Years, Volume 3. This is a 2-record set in a gatefold. Moving on to the Ventures. This is Walk, Don't Run, Run 64, Volume 2. Again, classic surf guitar, great riffs, fantastic record. And the last 2 is Art Tatum, The Genius of Art Tatum. This is on Verve. This is a mono, classic Verve label. And this is a much more appealing jazz to me, to my ear at least. It's a much smoother, more classic jazz, so I like that well. And in conclusion for the week, this is another trade, another Thelonious Monk. This is the Thelonious Monk Quartet Misterioso. I believe this was on Riverside out. Not I believe, it's on Riverside. A little dusty, but very nice record. And as with the other Thelonious Monk, again, it's a lot of jazz that still plays above my head. But one day, like I said, it's either gonna click and all the tumblers are gonna fall into place, or I'm just gonna throw my hands up in the air and say, okay, they go into my record collection and file, and I'll listen to them at a later point in time. So that's it. Have a great week. I hope everyone enjoys themselves. Today is February 11th. It's Tuesday. It's almost, but not quite the dead of winter yet. That won't happen for another 3 days. Otherwise, hopefully everyone's having a great week. Hope you had a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.